And it's not about changing who you are, but it's about remembering who you have always been.
If your business feels fuzzy, like frustrating, or you're just getting static instead of like a clear signal, you might just be tuned to the wrong frequency. Today's guest, Nicolina Huizinga, is a human design coach who helps entrepreneurs dial into their station, the one that's already broadcasting with clarity, energy, and direction. With 25 years in coaching and training, Nicoline shows us that burnout doesn't always mean you're broken. Sometimes you're just out of alignment. In this conversation, she explains what human design is, how it works, and how knowing your unique wiring can change the way you work, lead, and grow without forcing, pushing, or faking it. She's a generator, and when she's lit up, her energy is contagious. I'm Bradley Charbonneau, and this is Thursday Thunder and the Repossible Podcast. Welcome to the show. There we go. Now we're live. Hi, Nicolene. Nice to see you.
Hi, Bradley. So good to see you too.
Although I gotta say, Nicolene is feeling a lot better than I am because she is where she loves to be.
Yeah,
And she's
definitely.
in Spain, in Almuñécar there. And I just have to say this out here, and that she is really somebody who does the thing. She does the work. She follows through. She makes it happen. Nicolene, you can trust her. You can rely on her to get the job done. To if she's going to say she's going to do something, she's going to do it. And also, she's had a big dream for a long time, I think, right? To be in Spain, and she's there.
Yeah.
And I say this as someone who I live in Europe and I wanted to live in Europe forever and ever. And I did it. Yeah. It just, that's my wacky sort of convoluted introduction of one of my, full of admiration for you, Nicolene. It's that someone who really does it. And I say this, no disrespect for the people who don't do, but people who don't do, there's not, I think it's like 99% in one.
Mm.
And maybe we can learn a little bit about that through our talk today, because today we're going to talk a lot about human design.
Yeah.
And Nicolene and I have known each other for several years, and Nick and human design is relatively new for you, right? So,
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
note, can you give us a little, just a little intro about yourself and you as an entrepreneur? And I want to talk more about Spain today as well. And
Yes.
then how did this human design thing, human design thing, how did this come about and now you're full on into it. And
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear more about it today. So
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah, great. Well, first, thank you for those lovely words about, making it happen and doing it. And yeah, I thank you for that wonderful and warm introduction. So I have always been fascinated by human behavior, what drives people, what holds them back, how they access their full potential. And being when I started my corporate job, I did several jobs, and at some point, I started working for an international training and coaching company.
Okay.
And it's now been 15 years ago that I started my own business in training and coaching. And after being in that field for such a long time, I noticed, even with the best strategies, many entrepreneurs still struggle to get results. They follow all the steps and they still feel stuck, they feel exhausted, and they feel like something was off. And I walked that path myself. Um, because I tried everything. I did a lot of things, and of course, it worked to a certain extent, but it didn't
Yeah.
work like full on. And when I discovered human design, that's now been 7 years ago,
Oh,
I really,
really?
it's 7 years ago already. Um,
Wow.
However, I didn't talk about it for 2 years because
Okay.
I was studying it. I was studying it. And that is an element in my design that I want to know everything to the letter first before I start talking about it.
Okay.
And before I start using it for
Yeah.
other people or
Yeah.
using it with other people.
Yeah. You can use it for yourself and for your own world, but then
Yeah.
before you say like, "Hey, here's this awesome thing."
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah. So that's
Wow.
what I did. But when I discovered it, I felt like, someone had handed me my own blueprint of who I really was. And I realized that I had been building my business in ways that went against my energy. And
Okay.
since then, and so that's been the past 5 years, basically, when I started talking about it. Since then, I've used human design to help, like, I don't know how many service-based entrepreneurs realign their businesses in ways that feel good, that work better, and that actually brings in clients without burning out or without second guessing themselves. And yeah, so here we are, 7 years on human design and still learning every day, and I love it.
Wow. Okay. So human design, we've talked about human design. Well, you've mentioned it, but I'd like to really get into what it is. And
Yeah.
I also want to have another little prelude here. So Nicoline and I know each other through entrepreneurial world. And we met and we work together on things and we really align in many ways entrepreneurially, right? And also we match up quite well. Like I'm like you're more like a structural, and I talked about like math and magic, right? And you're more the math side, the structural side. I'm more the magic and out there. And so the reason I this is how can I say this? I'm just going to say it. Because human design, because we're going to hear it from you, but at first glance, you might think it's, we got math and magic or science and spirit.
Mm,
It's over there in the spirit and the woo-woo area, right? And I want to hear your feedback on this. But the reason that I'm good with it is because it's coming from you, right?
mm,
And you know that I like to make fun of like purple feathers and rainbows and unicorns and all, and that's all wonderful. And believe me, I am as woo as they come, right?
yeah,
I meditate every single day. I talk to my guardian angels on a regular basis. I
yeah,
am woo as you, right?
yeah.
So I'm all good with woo. But then also, like as I know you've heard this story, Nicoline, but not also my audience, but when my dad was dying of cancer, I was looking for ways to help him, and that was sort of my spiritual awakening, as they call it. And yet
Mm,
my dad, very engineer, very straightforward thinker, and he wants like the white lab coat and the PhD doctor guy to tell him the scoop, right? So anything like spiritual I would bring him, he wanted like science behind it. He wanted the numbers and the reports and the that he's like, Bradley, that woo stuff, that's okay, but I need it to be sort of backed up. And
mm,
so for
yeah,
me, the introduction to human design, the coming from you, and you as a coach, as a guide, is immediately had me on board. Like, okay, well, if Nicoline's okay with this, then I'm okay with this.
yeah.
So there's my little preface from like I call myself a mathemagician, right? Math and magic and mathemagician, because I've got that balance of both.
Yeah.
And I just want to put that out there for the people listening. If you like, what is this human design stuff? What is this crazy woo-woo weirdo stuff, right? And because there's definitely an element, right? You're not denying that it's not.
Mm,
But then I want to hear the parts about it. So with that way judgmental intro there, but this is exactly what I'm trying to do because I know my audience is also critical of to woo, and I want to hear the other side of it. So how did you said you, and I really like that you say you got into it and then you spent 2 years kind of studying it first.
yeah.
And I'm just going to assume something here, even though my wife's boss always said don't assume. But I assume that if in those 2 years you thought, oh, well, this is crap, or this is nothing, or this is
Hmm.
nuttiness, then you wouldn't have continued. But that's clearly not the case. So,
Yeah.
okay, I will let you now give me the spiel. And for the people listening who have never heard a word about human design, what in the world is this? What is it? What is human design, Nicolene?
Great. Yeah, so the thing, with human design, I love it that you are critical of the woo thing,
Yeah.
the woo element, because so was I,
Yeah.
and I still am, by the way. Um,
Okay. Interesting.
but the great thing about human design is that it is actually a user manual for who you are and who you were when you were born, and it combines ancient wisdom, which many people call woo, but it
Okay.
combines the ancient wisdom systems like astrology, the I Ching, the chakras, the Kabbalah, with modern science like quantum physics and genetics. And
Okay.
that's where it really got interested, and that's where I got hooked on human design because of the combination of the ancient wisdom. I mean, astrology, mankind has been studying the stars for over 3,000 years. So there must be something in there. That's not
Yeah.
a woo thing. So the thing is with astrology is that what we know nowadays of astrology is those vague horoscopes, like, you're gonna meet someone interesting this week,
Okay.
those kind of things.
Right. Right.
And that's where people get, I would say, skeptical, like, yeah, right. So when they talk about human design and they mention that astrology is a very important component for many people, that is like, yeah, right. No, well,
Okay.
so you're going to tell me that I am blah, 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 whatever. But the thing is with human design, because it is a combination of those ancient wisdoms, it's a combination and quantum physics, energy. Energy is like electricity. We cannot see it, but
Yeah.
we know it's there.
Yeah.
I mean, when we plug in a device, we
Yeah.
know whether or not there's electricity. And it's the
Yeah.
same with energy. We are human beings. We are made of energy. We are vibrating on a certain frequency, even though that may be too woo-woo for some people. But
Right.
we
Right.
are energy, that we
Yeah.
can measure that.
Yeah.
And that's where it got really interesting for me because when you start digging into your human design, it's like, being handed your own user manual. Like, this is how you are wired. This is how your energy works best. This is how you
Okay.
make decisions. This is how you use your strengths. This is how you spot patterns that are not yours. And it's not about changing who you are, but it's about remembering who you have always been and using that as your compass. And that's what human design is for me. Um, a user manual, very, very practical and not woo at all.
Yeah.
Whenever I do a reading with people, they always tell me, like, how do you know this?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you know? It's like you're inside my head. How did you know this? I'm like,
Yeah.
it's in your design. It's in your design. And there's
Yeah.
nothing woo about that. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Also, as I changed so much well, since my dad passed away, that my sort of opinion on the whole thing is kind of, I can't prove that it is so, and you can't prove that it's not so. And part of me thinks, well, what's the harm in at least giving it a go, at least
Yeah,
giving it a thought,
yeah,
giving it a chance.
that's it.
And I don't know, because like you said, with the how did you know this, how did you know this about me or whatever? And I think, what's the harm in that?
Yeah,
And to give it a shot and let's say, I don't know, there's five things. What if one of them is so spot on, one element of this whole, blueprint, for example, and one
mm,
is so spot on, like me, I have, waiting to respond, as we will talk about later,
yeah,
but just that one little element that I learned from you, through my human design from you, and that has helped me so much. One tiny little thing. So if one tiny little thing of this blueprint can help somebody, then
yeah,
what's the harm in that?
yeah,
And then if I'll say to the woo naysayers, I'll say, okay, this is from a guy who, I was a mathematics major in college, and now I've really gone so spiritual, but not off the deep end because
Mm,
I definitely have elements of my dad in me, the engineer, and I want the white lab coat and I want
yeah,
the reports and stuff. And but I still want to say, like, why not?
yeah,
What's the harm in that? And frankly, it's often fun.
it is.
It's
It
not
is.
tax law.
No, and you know, the thing is, for many people, when I talk about their human design, it's like, I've always known this about myself.
Wow.
I always thought I was weird. I always thought like something was wrong with me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's such a validating essence to it. Like, I've
Yeah.
always known this about myself, but
Yeah.
I always thought that I should adapt, I should fit in, I should, well, many shoulds, in order to function in society.
Yeah.
And it basically that's what human design for me is as well. It's a permission slip to be you, and not in a way like, yeah, but this is the way I am, I cannot change it. But it's like, this is who you are, and please start working, living according to that blueprint, because then life gets easy, it gets fun, it's flowy, it's light. And that's
Wow.
what we want, right?
As you know, I'm very visual, and I often see rowboats and rivers and stuff, and I just saw I could
Yeah,
paddle upstream against what I
of
know
course.
and especially if I'm now aware of an element of a human design of my character, and I'm aware that I can fight it and I can paddle upstream as hard as I want. But it's a whole lot easier to just turn around and just like steer, right?
Yeah,
Just go with the power of what's already
yeah,
there
that's
and
it.
steer
That's
your
it.
little boat
Yeah.
rather than fight
And
it.
this is what you said about that one element, the waiting to respond bit, that was such a game changer for you. For
Yeah.
me, it was knowing my profile lines. So as I told you, started studying human design 7 years ago. I didn't talk about it for 2 years. That is in my design, because I have a profile
Ah,
line. I live on knowledge. I live on information. I want the strong foundation. And if I don't feel like I have the strong foundation, I don't talk about it. I don't teach people if
mm,
I'm not sure that I'm teaching something that I really fully know and understand. Before that, I was like, I was in the shadow energy of that profile line one a lot. Like, oh, I don't know enough. I am, I don't, who am
yeah,
I to teach people? How am I to show people this or that? And I never understood, like, why are others doing it and I'm not? Because I need to know more. I need to
yeah,
be
yeah,
more. Now I know and I understand this is my profile line one. And that's why whenever I teach something, I studied it, and I studied it to the letter. So, and that's part of me. And now I know and I understand, and I've fully accepted and embraced that. It's like, oh, this is who I am. Great.
yeah. Uh, and I was about to say, but in
Mm.
good improv form. And
Yeah.
then when is enough studying?
Exactly. Exactly. So when I am in that feeling of, oh, I don't know enough, then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This is the shadow energy of my profile line one.
Yeah,
So snap out of it. I know enough. I know at least 5 or 10% more than the average person on this specific
yeah,
topic. So I'm fine. I just need to
yeah,
go with it.
yeah. Wow. So if we take all of this and we go over to the entrepreneurial world,
Yeah.
how, because that's your focus as well.
Yeah.
Your focus is entrepreneurs, helping
Yeah.
them with their businesses, how to run their business, how to all the elements of entrepreneurship. So
Yeah.
how does this then apply to an entrepreneur or to somebody's business? How can you and
Yeah.
human design help them with that?
Yeah, so what I see a lot, so as I said, it's been 15 years since I started my business. What I see in, especially in the online space, that many, many entrepreneurs are unknowingly running their businesses according to someone else's rules. So they download a blueprint, they follow a formula, or mimic what they see online, but it doesn't really fit their energy, their rhythm, or their voice. And that leads to burnout, frustration, inconsistency, and sometimes even shame. And it's like you said, paddling upstream, you can do that for a while, but at some point it's like, I'm exhausted, I'm
Yeah.
tired, and I didn't get the result that I wanted. And that's where the self-doubt creeps in, where people think they are the problem. But what is really going on is that they follow a system that is not aligned to their energy, that's not
Okay.
aligned to how they are supposed to work. And that's what human design does. It shows you the rules that really work for you,
Yeah.
your decision-making style, your communication strengths, your energy rhythm. And when you build from there, that's when things start to flow again. And it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm paddling upstream and I'm
Yeah.
exhausted.
Yeah.
And that's where the relief comes in. And perhaps it's nice to mention some examples. One of my clients was following the blueprint of launching an online program. But every
Okay.
time she started a launch, she freeze up and things didn't flow again, and she was exhausted, and she did all the things. She was a really good student of,
Yeah.
the framework.
Yeah.
And she sent all the emails, she did the challenge, and she gave the master classes, and she did like basically everything. But here's the thing, she is a projector, and projectors don't have the consistent source of energy that generators and manifesting generators have. Those are energy types in human
Yeah.
design, those who do not know. Projectors thrive on invitations and recognition. They don't thrive on constant output. And guess what she had been doing with,
Yeah.
the challenge and the masterclass and the emails and the whole thing. She was
Yeah.
on constant output. And once we started redesigning her business around being invited in, she just got two new clients without launching, and things started to feel fun and light and happy again. Another client, a manifesting generator, and you know this, you are a manifesting
Yeah.
generator. Many manifesting generators are told to niche down because manifesting generators are multi-talented and
Yeah.
multi-passionate.
That's a nice way of saying all over the place
No, but
for me.
but for the audience, it may look like you're all over the place, but
Yeah.
you are multi-talented,
Yeah.
multi-passionate.
Yeah. You're right.
And what it
Yeah.
is that you do is, as a manifesting generator, because you have so many projects going on, but
Yeah.
what you do, you help people voice the potential that is in there. You help them build a legacy by writing books,
Yeah.
by being on stage, by public speaking, by improv comedy, and it all niches down to that particular thing. Like I help you to leave a legacy by using your voice and using what's inside, what's living inside of you, whether it's a book, whether it's a speech, or it's comedy. This is what you do. And
Yeah.
the thing is, when we are told, like, no, Bradley, all you should do is helping people write books, then you would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
it's trapped, right? It
Yeah.
feels limited. And the thing is with manifesting generators, and I know this is a thing what we discussed a lot too, is to give yourself permission to
Yeah.
be multi-passionate,
Yeah.
to do all these various projects, even if you
Yeah.
don't always finish all of
Yeah.
them. But when you allow yourself to be multi-passionate and multi-talented, that's where you become magnetic.
Yeah.
And people love that mix of modalities. but they need to understand, okay, what is the overarching theme? What's the overarching umbrella, if you like, for all the things that you do? And I
Yeah.
think that's what made a real difference for you too.
Well, I'll never forget several years ago now when I love the word permission. You sort of, I don't know if you gave me permission. Well, I think you gave me permission for me to give myself permission.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because if you give me permission, that's fine, but I might
Yeah.
deny it or something. I needed to give myself permission. Because like you
Exactly.
said, if I'm a manifesting generator, and I love that word because I just generate like a madman, right?
Yeah.
And at one point when you and I were talking years ago, I thought, but Nicoline, if I can't create every day, I'm going to explode. You
Mm.
know, like I had that coach once and he said it was like a popcorn machine
Yeah.
and I'm just popcorn. The kernels are flying out all over the place.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I ever got this through to him, although you understand it, but I need to be a popcorn. I am a
Yeah.
popcorn machine.
Yeah.
And so then if I know that, I'm aware of that, I give myself permission to say, I am a popcorn machine. I'm going to create a video every single day. I'm going to
Yeah.
write 40 gazillion books all the time. I
Yeah.
need that. So then the question is, okay, like now what? What do I do with that? And that's when like he would say, like, okay, get a bucket and
Yeah.
collect some of the popcorn. And this
Yeah.
is caramel popcorn, and this is
Yeah.
salty popcorn.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, but it helped me so much by giving myself permission once I knew my human design and I knew,
Mm.
oh, wow, that is me. Thank you for letting me be aware, become aware of who
Yeah.
I really am. And
Yeah.
then it just, like, ah, thank you. I'm allowed. I gave myself permission to create every day because that's what I really want to do.
Yeah.
And whether or not like that's my best, business decision or not, well, that's like a secondary um,
Exactly.
decision,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because I know I need to create, and maybe not, that's my money making part. But if I don't do that, I'm going to go nuts.
Yeah. That's
So
it.
keep doing that, and then we can work on other stuff,
Exactly.
other elements of
Yeah.
the business.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where, and those are, I would say, two different things, and they are interconnected because
Mm,
you, especially as an entrepreneur, when you are the business, you need to be on your highest energy and your
yeah,
best potential in order to be a great business owner, in order to be a great entrepreneur. But if you deny the human part of you and you suppress,
yeah,
if you
yeah,
what would happen if you would suppress all this creative
yeah.
energy? Oh my
It,
God.
I'd be a wreck. I'd be
Yeah.
miserable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it. But and here it comes really interesting. When you are like fitting in and you're niching down, feeling miserable,
yeah,
um, the whole world around you doesn't benefit from the popcorn machine that you really
yeah,
are.
yeah,
And I think this is the most crucial thing about human design, that our energy is our trademark and it's our biggest asset that we have. And if we are doing well, then we are able to give to the world and to the
yeah,
people around us, even
yeah,
friends, family, our
yeah,
loved ones.
yeah, yeah,
They benefit when
yeah,
we are doing well. So taking care of ourselves, and it's such a cliche, on an airplane, you put on your own
yeah, yeah,
oxygen mask
yeah,
first, but this is exactly the same.
yeah,
You need to be happy, flowy, and then
yeah,
everyone around you benefits.
yeah. I just, again, visual guide, this just came to me because you mentioned we've talked a lot about blueprint.
Yeah.
And then sort of I noticed when you started talking about your what is human design, and you were saying something like, oh, well, people just, download a blueprint and they think that's going to solve their problems. It was funny because you originally were like pro blueprint and then you're like anti blueprint, but I have
Yeah.
a point here, I swear,
Yeah.
because the one you were talking about in a negative sense was like this is the blueprint
Yeah.
created by Joe Schmo, and it's
Yeah.
not necessarily your blueprint.
Yeah.
Whereas human design is your blueprint. And
Exactly.
and then as I love to talk about the radio dial, and you and I have talked about frequency and energy, like if you're on a radio dial and if the blueprint that you received is 89.7 and you are a 93.5 person, it doesn't matter how loud they turn up the volume on that blueprint.
Yeah.
You're not going to connect because you're
Yeah.
not
That's
vibrating
it.
at the same frequency. So just
Exactly.
imagine when if the blueprint you receive is that 93.7 or whatever I said, and that is your blueprint, you're like, then it's like when that radio station comes in clear, you're like, there's all this crackle, crackle, and then la. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
that's my
exactly.
station.
Yeah, exactly. And this is exactly the feeling that all my clients have when we talk about their
Wow.
human design. The big word is relief. It's, ah, I've always known this about myself. I'm
Yeah,
not weird. I'm not crazy. Now I know and I understand how I've always been. But I went away from that original, a setting, if you will. Uh,
yeah,
and in that sense, we follow someone else's blueprint
yeah,
for, and
yeah,
we all know them,
yeah,
six
yeah.
steps, to six figures,
Yeah.
10 steps to 10K months, all those
Right,
blah, blah,
right.
blah. And it's great for the person who launched them because apparently it worked for him or
It
her.
worked for them. Yeah, exactly.
That's great, but it
That's
may
great.
not necessarily work for you.
Yeah, yeah,
And in order to save yourself a lot of frustration and a lot of exhaustion, I would say. I mean, I've been there, and that's
yeah.
also
Oh,
part
yeah,
of my human design. I
yeah,
am a three-line person, testing, trying, experimenting. That's my middle name. I have
yeah.
64 landing pages of stuff that didn't work. So
Right.
Um, yeah, so and that's the thing about knowing yourself. And before, I would have never mentioned those 64 landing pages because there was a lot of shame around, oh, I have tried things and they failed. Now I know it just didn't work. Check.
Wow.
And I'll move on. And this is
That's
what
huge.
happens. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
Wow.
I always thought like, oh, I am a failure because I
Yeah,
see other people doing really well,
yeah,
feeling so happy. And of course, that's also something that you and I discussed before this call, the other perspective when we look
yeah,
at other people from our perspective, like, oh, it looks also, you know, rainbows and unicorns and it's so
yeah,
easy and blah blah blah. We don't see what they have tried. We
yeah,
don't see the self-doubt, the anxiety, the fears. We don't see all that. We only see success, and then it's really easy, to like, oh yeah, it looks so easy. No, it's not. It's
yeah.
really sticking to your blueprint and to your way of doing things. And that's where the power and the flow and the fun comes.
It- Although easy, you say it's not easy, and that makes me think of paddling upstream. Then when you have your aligned blueprint that is yours,
Yeah.
then it's turn around and let's just we
Yeah.
can paddle more, but we
Yeah.
actually don't have to because we're going to be flowing on the river's current and
Yeah.
power. And that's
Yeah.
the big power. And all we need to do is sort of
Absolutely.
steer.
Yeah. And of course, we have been conditioned to do certain things. So it's not like, oh, once your life is only going to be happy.
Right,
But every
right.
now and again, we have those deeply ingrained patterns that keep popping up like, oh, you're following the flow. It's easy to make money. No,
Yeah,
we need to
yeah,
work
yes.
hard.
Wow.
That's when it becomes really good. So,
Ah,
there are many old patterns that we need to decondition from, that we need to unlearn. And sometimes the unlearning is even harder than the learning.
yes, yes.
Uh, but we're human, and that's what makes the whole journey so interesting. So it's not like, oh, I'm handing you your blueprint and you're fine for life. No,
Right.
when
Right.
you start realizing, oh, wait a minute, this is not mine. This is something that I learned
Yeah.
from my caregivers, from my parents, from my
Yeah.
society, from the culture that I grew up in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. We've mentioned, we just touched on manifesting generator and generator. I think you
yeah,
mentioned projector. Could
yeah,
you just give us a quick list of the different types and with a
yeah.
tiny little description? And I know you have more information about this, but just for our
Yeah.
listeners here.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. So the level where human design starts is the energy type, and there are five
Okay.
energy types in human design. The biggest group, generators. 37% of people are generators. I'm a generator. The generators are the people with a lot of energy. They are the workers. They roll up the sleeves. They get things done.
Yeah.
Those are the generators. The manifesting generators is second biggest group, 33%. They are the
Okay.
multi-talented, multi-passionate people, and they are the ones who can do everything and anything. And that's just wonderful.
Okay.
They are really quick. So for many manifesting generators, it's their speed, it's their sparky personality. That's what's really attractive for them. Generators and manifesting generators have a defined sacral center, as it's called. So they have this sustainable source of energy, life force. So
Okay.
when they do what lights them up, they can just
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the magnetic bit about them.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
those two groups together, 70%. Then we have the
Wow.
more rare energy types. Projectors, 20%. They are the wise people. They are the calm guides. They are the people who have this great overview. They can spot the gaps in processes, in things that people are not doing right or what they're not doing well.
Okay.
Sometimes they are seen as the know-it-alls. And the thing is with a projector that they don't have the sustainable source of energy that I mentioned. So
Okay.
they need more rest, they need more sleep. And that's a big problem for many projectors because they are conditioned to work hard and to hustle and to, keep up with the generators and the manifesting generators.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we have the manifestors, that's 9%. They are the visionaries, the quirky ones, the people who have this unique view on the world. They are the innovators. They are the people with new ideas and new concepts. And the thing is with manifestors, they also don't have the sustainable source of energy, but their energy comes in bursts. So they have this
Okay.
like a tsunami of energy and then they crash. So that's like, an up and down energy. And then we have the rarest group, and that's 1% of the
Wow.
whole society, and that's reflectors. And
Okay.
reflectors are, I always call them the canary in the coal mine. They have, when you look at the human design, they have nine open centers, which means they reflect and amplify the energy around them. So they can just spot in a room, they can spot instantly, like something is off here, or something is really great going on here. So they are really sensitive, and their sensitivity is their unique strength. But what many reflectors hear during, growing up, school, education, whatever, oh, stop being so sensitive. You're overly sensitive.
Hmm.
But reflectors' superpowers are based on their sensitivity. So those are the
Okay.
five energy types.
Well, I'm sure people are thinking, which one am I? Right?
Yes.
And if they're not familiar, how can they learn this? How can they find out which energy type they are? And then how can that then work to their business to help them with their business?
Yeah, so on my website, I have a tool where all you need to put in is your date of birth, time of birth, and place of birth. Because, like we said, astrology is a
Okay.
strong component of human
Yeah.
design. If you put those three elements in, and your email address, of course, because then I can send you some stuff. You can download a free audio report that explains your energy type, your strategy, your authority, and all based on your human design, but focused on how to run your business more easily. So you get marketing insights based on your human design, and it's all free.
Wow. So they fill in the info and they're going to get a report. They're gonna, like a written
Yes.
report and audio or
It's both. Yeah, they
both.
can download both. It's a written report. It's a free audio report. I prefer
Okay.
the audio report because it's all energy. They hear my voice.
Yeah.
And for some reason it's people find it easier to listen than to read. So yeah, but you
Yeah.
can download both. Yeah.
Oh. Well, and then when they get this report, there will be some explanation as to what things mean. You're not just
Yes.
going to say, you're a manifesting generator. Have fun.
No.
There's
No.
explanation as to what things mean for what for them.
Exactly. What it means for your business. So, how can you use
Yeah.
you being a manifesting generator? How can you use that in your marketing and in your business? How can you use that to attract clients, etc.?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. This is, I'm sure, I don't know, if I were listening and if I didn't know yet, I'd be like, I'm so curious. What am
Yeah.
I? What am I gonna learn?
Yeah.
What am I gonna, yeah. So I invite everybody to go to, we'll put your website in the show notes
Great.
and
Yeah.
have a link and you can find
Great.
out all about your human design and how that will help you be more aligned with your business.
Perfect.
Okay.
Great.
Great, Nicoline. I'm very curious about this little app here in the Zoom thing because the temperatures, do you think is it up to date? Does it change?
Yeah, I think, yeah, it changes. Yeah, it
Okay,
changes. Yeah.
because I've been looking at it because you're still 26, I think, and I'm still 18. I was kind of hoping to like gain a degree, but not happening.
Didn't happen
I can
yet.
I can still hope. There's hope.
There is hope. There is hope. Yeah. I'll send you some great sunny vibes from Spain.
Oh, thank you, thank you. We need them. All right, Nicoline, this has been fantastic.
Thank
I
you.
I know enough about human design to get me in trouble. And so this has really helped me. And also it really helped me years ago with just, like I said, a few little elements of it. And even just those few elements have helped me immensely with
Yeah.
words like you said, like relief, right? And permission. Those are
Mm,
big items. And
yes.
those are just a human design and you, Nicolene, have helped me a lot with that. So thank you so much.
Great. Great.
Okay.
Happy to hear that. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks for being here, Nicolene.
Thank you.
Bye.